She is the most passionate defender of community colleges. There are 1,200 of them in this country, and she considers them America's best-kept secret, and she's doing everything she can to make sure that they are no longer a secret. She's also, of course, the mother of Beau Biden, who is the Attorney General of Delaware, and an Iraq vet. And as a result of her being a Blue Star mom, she has joined, together with the First Lady, the Joint Forces Initiative, and has been a champion of our vets. As she calls it, we need to turn gratitude into action. She's also a tireless breast cancer awareness advocate. Since she lost 4 close friends in 1993, she recognized the importance of spreading awareness around breast cancer. And I personally saw her promoting another cause, Special Olympics, when we were both together in Greece this summer for the Special Olympics there. So I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she can do all these things and still radiate peace, joy, and a real sense of dedication without stress to everything she's doing. But I'm thinking of assigning a couple of investigative reporters to get to the bottom of what is going on. In the meantime, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce you to Dr. Jill Biden.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ariana, for that warm introduction. And thank you to Sarah, Donna, and Ariana for the invitation to join you here today. It is really wonderful and inspiring to be with such an amazing group of women, especially women who are committed to taking action on so many critical issues, both here in the United States and around the world. For those of you who don't know me, as Ariana said, I've been an educator for many years, and I continue to teach English at a community college in Northern Virginia. In fact, I was grading papers this morning because I'll be back in the classroom tomorrow morning. People are often surprised that I'm still in the classroom every week, but the truth is, I can't imagine not teaching. The reason for me is simple. It's the students. They truly are my heroes. Many of my students work multiple jobs, take care of their families, and struggle just to make it to class. But they do it because they're committed to their education. I am especially inspired by the female students, some right out of high school, but many coming back after having raised their children, looking to make a better life for themselves and their families. I see every day what a difference education makes, so I'm especially proud that the President is making real investments in education. As a military mom, one of the best parts of my role as Second Lady is the time I spend meeting service members, military families, veterans, and wounded warriors, people who honor us with their service across the country and around the world. Supporting military families is a passion that I share with my partner and friend, Michelle Obama, and we are working hard to make sure that more Americans reach out and show appreciation for military families around this country. I wanted to come here today to speak to you about another issue that is very close to my heart, and one that desperately needs the attention and leadership of everyone in this room. Earlier this summer, I saw the news reports of the worst drought in 60 years in East Africa. I could not believe that I was seeing those terrible images again. The numbers were staggering. 12 million people at risk. 29,000 children under the age of 6 dead in 3 months. And it was clear that it was only getting worse. The stories touched my heart and the images of the children haunted me. As a mother, I thought, we have to do more. I asked my staff and those working on this issue at the White House what I could do to help. And several days later, I found myself on the way to Kenya. It's hard to convey all that I saw and experienced on that trip. So I would like to share a short video that I hope will bring the human face of the trip to life for all of you.
In America, I get asked all the time is why should I put my investment, my tax dollars into people around the world? This trip is important so that the American people understand that their past investments will alleviate suffering in the future. And this trip is important that Americans realize that there is something that they can do with the world community to reverse the hunger and starvation that is underway.
It's very important for us to see the support that we have from the American government. Here in Dadaab, we have a big operation to keep alive 400,000 refugees, and every day we receive another 1,500. It's a huge emergency. We need all the support that we can get, and the U.S. government has shown with this visit that they are right behind us and that we can count on them, and this is appreciated.
I'm sure you've seen the reports about the famine and the people coming from Somalia into Kenya. And as a mother, I watched these children and saw their pictures and saw them starving and many dying. And I thought, we had to do something. So this is the reason for the trip to Kenya, to create awareness, to come to the camps, to look at the conditions, to look at what they need, and to say to Americans and to citizens of the world, really, if you could just donate something to make it better for the children, because they need food and water and medical supplies. And if everybody could just give a little something, it would mean a life for a child.
The droughts had really affected the camps. Like in a day, you find 1,500 refugees have been coming to the UNHCR registration to seek refugee status, which has also demoralized the existing refugees because they were hoping that peace will prevail in their home countries. But when they have seen that the people whom they have left in Somalia are joining the existing camps, they were a bit worried of the situation. And if you find that the people who are coming, they are malnourished and the status is a bit very low.
Having been there today, I've seen children getting immunizations against measles, which will save their lives. They're getting liters of water, they're getting bags of grain. So they are getting help, but there's so many coming in. We have to keep up with it to make sure that we can address every child's needs. So if you're looking for a way to help, and this situation has touched your heart, as it did mine, you can go to usaid.gov and you can choose for yourself among all the organizations whether you want to provide money for an immunization for a child, for water, for food. But whatever you do, please give. As you saw in the film, I traveled to a refugee camp in Dadaab where hundreds of thousands have fled. I met with families who have walked for days or weeks, often barefoot with no possessions, desperate to find food and medical care. I spent a time with a mother who had walked for 15 days with her 4 malnourished children. Her baby was sick with diarrhea, an ailment which seems almost minor to us, but in these circumstances is often fatal. Like many of the women in the camps, this mother had walked day and night through very dangerous conditions to try to save her children. One young woman in the camp recounted stories of women being attacked and raped on their way to the camp, often right in front of their children. Just stop for a moment and try to imagine what it would be like to desperately seek food and water for your starving children, to walk hundreds of miles, facing the very real possibility of violence all along the way. We heard one story that I can't put out of my mind. A mother who was too weak to carry both of her children had to choose which she would save and which she would leave along the roadside. How can any mother make that choice? In the face of devastation and unimaginable challenges, these strong and resilient women are trying to make sure that their families survive. They want what each of us wants: to ensure a safe and healthy future for themselves and their children. While the international community has mobilized and we are helping millions of people in the region, the scope and pace of the crisis is relentless. Without additional assistance, hundreds of thousands of more could die, and most of those deaths will be children. Unfortunately, a terrible drought is being complicated by a chaotic political situation in Somalia. People are facing not only hunger, but terrorism and violence, which are making it difficult to get aid into that country. That is why the people are fleeing to the refugee camps in Kenya and Ethiopia. But there is hope. On my visit, I saw firsthand that even the smallest and simplest investments can save lives. Aid is working. I saw $2 measles vaccinations that literally mean the difference between life and death for these children in the camps. I saw how ready-to-use therapeutic food treatments, costing under $1, each provide critical nutrition to malnourished children. And I saw how inexpensive oral rehydration packs can bring listless babies back to life. I saw some of the progress being made from investments in long-term food security, innovative and improved crops and irrigation methods, and new ways for farmers to market and transport their products. The goal of our aid is simple: to help create the conditions where such aid is no longer needed. We all know that these are tough times here at home, but we all know that Americans always respond to humanitarian crises, especially when a small donation can literally save the life of a child. Already we are seeing individuals, members of the faith community, businesses, and other organizations come together to make a difference in this crisis. The U.S. Agency for International Development is working with the Ad Council to produce a public awareness campaign called Forward. You can learn more about these efforts at usaid.gov. This room is full of creative, inspirational, and enterprising women, and I imagine that most of you are actively engaged in your communities. I hope that all of you here today continue to look for ways to support other women and to find ways to share your strength through service. The power of the community of women is immense. Let's put it to good use. We can truly save lives. One of the mothers I met at the refugee camp took my hand and asked me to please help her save her children. I hope that everyone in this room will join me in answering her plea. Thank you.